Oh my god. What's up everyone? To say that last night was a wild ride would be an incredible understatement, and now we have our final three, the winner of the first part of the final head of household competition, and of course we've got to talk about Kyland versus Xavier. We have got so much to talk about, guys, so welcome to your live feed update. Now, right before we get started, folks, if you are new around here, please hit the subscribe button and also click the like button. That really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, folks. It's incredibly difficult to understand, but I know that hitting the like button can really help get my content out there further. So I know it's the cliche thing to say, but I just appreciate it massively. If y'all could hit the subscribe button and the like button, it'd be doing me a massive favour. Thanks, guys. Okay guys, so of course we do a question of the day on here, and today's, it seems very relevant to link it to last night's. What did y'all think of Kyland's exit, we'll call it? I guess that's how we'll phrase the question. I guess, it's an open-ended one. What did y'all think of Kyland's exit? Because I would love to hear everybody else's opinion on this matter. Of course, we're going to, jump into this head first and do a deep dive on it very shortly. But that's today's question, folks. What did you think of Kyland's exit? Alright, guys, so the main attraction, of course, was last night's eviction. I am not even lying, folks, that when I tell you I was sat watching the show, and my mouth was wide open in shock. I was sat like that for ages when it was happening. It was one of those things where it was like, you think it's going to stop, but it progressively got worse and worse. And I was just sat there like, oh my god, what is going to happen here? I'm not even lying, guys. I was sat there like that. But I'll tell you what, that was something. That is a moment that will be remembered forever in Big Brother history. If you all follow me on Twitter, you will have seen I made the comparison to Big Brother 7 All-Stars, the blind side of Howie and Mike. Mike Boogie obviously led the charge on that one. Well, Dr. Will really did it, but Mike Boogie took the hit, and they had a standoff just before they left the house. But that one was Karls and Xavier. This got personal. Howie and Boogie was just game, and it was kind of just like, oh, shut up, you punk. And then this one, though, Kyland... Let's talk about it. So, folks, of course, Big D was the sole vote to evict, and he stood up at the living room and finally casted his vote correctly. I cast my vote to evict. There was no E-vote. I cast my vote to evict Kyland, and the look on Kyland's face was sheer dumbfoundedness. He was blindsided. It was a blindside like we predicted, folks. And then he walked over to the door, and you could feel the awkwardness, and it was, he asked a couple of questions saying, oh, how come you didn't let me know, Xavier? I thought I would have expected a heads up. That was where things got a little bit weird. I was thinking, okay, usually people get blindsided, give people a hug, walk out, don't say much. But, at first he started to ask questions. And then when, Xavier said, look, it's the game, I respect you too much as a player to tell you. And with Derek F being the sole vote to evict, I was worried that if I had told you, you'd have time to sway him, essentially. Which is why he didn't do it. It was a fair reasoning. He gave him the true reason. Xavier didn't lie to him as he headed out the door. He lied to him about the eviction, so obviously that's a bit shaky on that part, but he didn't lie in the reasoning. Then Kyland almost lost every single bit of credibility for him being unfairly evicted here, and if anybody did have sympathy for him, a lot of it might have went out the window at this point when he dragged Xavier's nephew into the situation and said, what you were talking about, raising Kobe to be a stand-up guy, stand-up man, and being able to be honest, and that was below the belt. That was a low blow. You don't bring people's family into it, especially someone who's a child as well. I would say it's, for a start, unacceptable to bring in family, because it's just wrong, and it's just don't go there. It makes it worse when the family member isn't even an adult, because, adults can... Well, listen, kids can stick up for themselves like adults can, but it's a different ball game. When you take a low blow at a kid, that's... And do you know what? In fact, I'm just going to bracket it back to family. If you take a blow at family, that's wrong. It shouldn't be said. It's disgusting. And it was a classless way for Kyland to go out. It was very disappointing, because I did like Kyland up until that point. And listen, I'm always the advocate for, if somebody does something in the house, they should be educated and given an opportunity to grow. So yes, I don't hate Kyland or anything like that, but that was bad. That was bad, and it was a classless move. And I really hope Kyland can bounce back from that, and apologise to Xavier when he gets out the house, because that was not acceptable. I mean, listen, there's always, like I said, I'm more than willing to watch people kind of be educated and grow upon their mistakes. I don't think we should shut down people straight away, but and I stand by that with Kyland. But man, that was wrong. And listen, you could see Xavier was getting riled up. He was saying, "You better not be talking about my nephew," and all that sort of stuff. And he kept going. Kyland kept going and going and going. And that was the moment that I was talking about, folks, where I'm sat there like going, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" Because Karls just kept digging and digging and digging and digging and playing out as if it was just like a normal conversation. Like, yeah, no, I get it and get it. But he was sniping at X's nephew there, which was low. And then there was the point where I think Xavier straight up looked at him and said, "Walk," like as in like get out right now. And rightfully so, because, I mean, man, if those cameras weren't there, I'm not saying somebody would have threw punches, but it seemed that way. And I know I've seen comments of people saying the same, like that could have led to something bad there. If that hadn't been on Big Brother and the cameras weren't there, I mean, that could have been a full blown brawl. I don't know who would have started it first, but I mean, listen, I mean, obviously I'm not advocating violence or anything like that, but I mean, man, the fact that X stood there and didn't even start arguing full on back to him was impressive. Of course nobody should be hitting anyone or punching anyone, but man, I mean, Kyland was pushing X's buttons there, and it wasn't comfortable or good to see at all. It was classless of Kyland, as I said. So that's where I stand with that one. I know everybody's got their own opinion on that one, but man, that was a crazy eviction, folks. And of course, Julie even had to intervene, shouting, "Kyland, Kyland, Kyland, exit the house right now, get out." That was when you knew it was things. I think that probably Julie knew and the producers knew, get him out now because this could escalate. I think otherwise they might have left him in there a little bit longer to see how far the argument would go. But I think the fact that they got him out that fast was when they realised something worse could happen. It was a crazy night. I was sat there half an hour afterwards, after his eviction, and I was still in amazement and disbelief. I was just in utter shock. I kind of still am now. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy eviction. But of course, we now have our final three. Congratulations, Xavier, Arza, and Big D on making it to the final three of Big Brother 23. And we now have the first winner of the final part of the Head of Household competition. So let's talk about that. So folks, the first winner of the first part of the final Head of Household competition is Xavier. I don't think it came as much surprise to anyone, so a huge congratulations to Xavier on doing that. He really is on the path to win this game. Now all he needs to do is win part 3 and then he's secured $750,000. Life-changing money there, folks. As much as I think Kyland actually might have said earlier in the series that money wouldn't do much for him. Listen, $750,000 would do so much for anyone. I don't even care what anyone says. I think that's just... I believe he did say that, and if he did, that's kind of arrogant. Listen, $750,000, it's madness. And X is probably going to win it. But listen, I mean, after last night, it was just you kind of get this rush of adrenaline when crazy things like that happen on Big Brother. I feel like it's revved me up for the end game even more. I'm kind of just raring to go now, and it's not in a cynical way of the way he spoke about his nephews got me riled up. It's just the fact of expect the unexpected. That's the thing in this show, and it really it's that happened last night. Expect the unexpected happened, and it really has you just kind of going, okay, let's get this end game sorted. So, huge congratulations to Xavier, as we said. I would say he's likely going to be taking Big D to the final 2 should he win it. But of course, we've got a full week ahead where things can go backwards and forwards in regards to what X wants to do. And of course, I mean, if it would probably take a miracle, but Arza or Big D could win part 2 and then part 3, and then who knows what will happen at that point, folks. I mean, listen, we even saw at the end of the show, if y'all missed it last night, because I did, and when the credits were rolling, because Big D was apparently trashing someone, and that someone was Kyland, and it wasn't necessarily a trashing, it was more just kind of I think he said something like, because they had the popping the champagne to celebrate final 3, and they were saying, "Cheers to you, Kyland, as well. You thought you could, run all over me, but I ran you out of the house." And I was thinking, oh God. Listen, I think X was the person who masterminded the Kyland vote, not Big D. Big D does think he's master. Listen, yes, he did the soul vote there, but only cause X really, really pushed it on him this week to try and do it. So I don't know. But listen, it's the final 3. Like I said, a massive congratulations to Big D, Arza, and X. And there isn't a whole lot more game to talk about from last night, because it was kind of just celebrate that we're here. X won part 1, and then they kind of reflected on the night and kind of reflected on Kyland's eviction and talked about that a bit more. And of course, folks, before I forget about this one, America's Favourite Player is now open. So, folks, get voting for that. I'd love to hear who everybody's voting for as well. And of course, the prize money has been doubled, which is incredible. And I do believe whoever gets it this year truly deserves the double money, because I think we're going to get a fantastic America's Favourite Player this year, whether it be Tiffany or Derek X or Claire or Hannah or whoever it may be. I think it will be one of the first three that I said. Then I truly think that person deserves that money. I just think, they've all been great people. So I'm glad that the prize money's been doubled there for America's Favourite Player. Again, $50,000. That's huge money. That is huge money. So congratulations to whoever gets that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, folks, on who you're going to be voting for America's Favourite Player. And let me know your thoughts on Kyland's, eviction plus exit last night. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. Please let me know your thoughts on last night and this week so far in the comment section below. How did you feel about Kyland's exit from the house? Was Xavier fair in his reasoning, or should he have let him in on the vote before? Did Big D make the right decision in evicting Kyland instead of Azza? Are you happy that Xavier's won the first part of the final head of household competition? And who would you like to see make final two and eventually win the game of Big Brother 23? And of course, who are you going to be voting for America's Favourite Player? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below, folks, because there is so much to talk about, especially after last night. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I thoroughly hope everybody enjoyed it, and I'll say as I always do, make sure that you're staying safe, staying positive and staying healthy out there, and be kind to one another. After last night, be kind to one another, guys. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.